A living. Crypto is on the rise, making that dough in the crypto paradigm. Watching it go, buying low, selling high. Riding the wave, I'm here to stay, living in the digital age. No banks, no fees, just decentralized. It's crypto paradise. Ooh. No banks, no fees.
Alrighty, good morning from Paradise Surfers. Happy Friday. We've made it to the end of the week. We got the whole surf crew in the house. It is October 24th, and what a glorious day it is. Sometimes the crypto gods shit on you. Sometimes they decide to crash the market 20% because of some leverage bullshit. But then sometimes the crypto gods smile down upon us and decide that the CPI data is going to come in under expectations. And that means the Fed is going to be cutting rates, folks. So we got that story to cover for you today. We got some other bullish news. Obviously, CZ. We got mixed feelings about the guy, but hey, I guess Donald Trump did it. He's now pardoned. What will this mean for Binance and the crypto industry as a whole? And then, is quantitative easing on the horizon? Some analysts think so. Some financial bigwigs think that $1.5 trillion will be printed through quantitative easing, and that money will make its way into risk assets if all things go according to plan. I'm feeling bullish. I'm feeling good. I don't know about you guys. I was a little worried. You know, you don't know these CPI numbers. You know, a lot of people say it's all fugazi made up to begin with. And are they going to come out over expectations? And oh my God, market crashes, Fed tightens up, and you know, we're F for another 6 months. Didn't turn out that way, folks. Turned out the opposite. So I'm feeling very good. I did not have a chance to dig into the numbers in any great detail this morning. Initial reactions on the CPI print, what you guys think happened next?
Well, I was just going to say it's good. I was just going to say yesterday we said we thought it was going to be either under expectations or at expectations, so we were right on that. I know we had a 66% chance of being right, but hey, we were right. And you know, with it being under expectations, that does lead us to a higher probability of surprising the market for a 0.5% cut rather than just the standard 0.25% cut. So let's root for that. Obviously, that gets QE going in a big way. And I know there's some more stories that we'll be talking about as well of what is going on that could drive these risk-on markets much higher.
Yeah, it's interested to see. I'm trying to find the story here. Trump saying he's got a big announcement coming today, and there's he
says that every day.
Just give us one day, Trump, a green candle.
This guy's worse than he's worse than a low-cap crypto project. Big announcement.
2 weeks ago, when he said he had a big announcement, he waited till right after the markets closed and then crashed everything.
That's true.
So I don't know what this one's going to be. Hopefully, it's something regarding the rate cuts. He's saying or tweeting that massive rate cuts are coming right before saying there's going to be a big announcement at this conference today. I think that's at 3 p.m. Your time, Amaru. I'll be fast asleep. So if he does crash the markets, I'll at least get to sleep through the initial panic. But yeah, could be a big rate cut announcement, could be something else, but it is most likely economic, if not crypto related. So yeah, we'll have to you'll be live tweeting some stuff as that happens there. I don't know. What are your thoughts? What else could it be other than rate cuts?
Who knows? Every day is a big announcement for Trump, right? Every day is something big. Every day. I mean, yesterday was the same thing, right? He had a presser, was a big thing, and actually it was pretty big because he's pardoned CZ and did probably announce some other stuff. I don't know what's going to be today. I don't know. I think sometimes, Trump's got to realize when he's got to win in his back pocket. Like, the Fed doesn't need more cajoling. You don't need to start hammering them again and talking about rate cuts. Like, the data is finally aligned from a jobs standpoint and the inflation standpoint for the Fed to continuously cut rates. The more he opens his mouth, actually there's Fed governors I think have this, first of all, they're probably politically biased against Trump, but then they don't want to appear like they're in sway from, the president, right? Because they're supposed to be separate from politics. So at some point, got to take the win. Stop talking about cuts. We know they're coming because the data is going to allow for it. And I don't know. The one thing I will say about this announcement, if we see that notorious trader, if we see him open up either a short or a long, we know which way the news is going to go, good or bad. So
this guy here, Mr. Garrett Jin.
Oh, who the fuck is? Wait, what is this? Hold on.
So this is the story. They're saying the CZ pardon news basically confirms that the Bitcoin whale, Garrett Jin, is the insider from the Trump admin. He was the guy who massively shorted right before the Trump tariff announcement and made a bet just weeks ago on the CZ pardon. So there's speculation. People are trying to.
Who is that guy? Does anyone know who that is?
Who that is? No idea. I just saw this story today though. But yeah, Garrett Jin has opened a position on Polymarket. Garrett Jin is one of the co-founders of BitForex, a defunct exchange. So,
I remember that exchange. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. No, but I like this guy's comment. As long as he keeps doing it publicly, I have no problem copy trading his portfolio.
No shit.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think at 3 p.m. today is a little late for the president of China to be in the office with Trump shaking his hand, but maybe some tariff news to kind of juice the Fed's opinion with the CPI data is in store. I don't know what else we could be saying. I doubt he will want to crash the market again. He saw what happened to you last Friday when he did that, or whenever that was. So let's hope he wants to be on the green side of things and get things juiced. But the thing with the market is too. You probably don't want the market to be super overheated. You kind of want the market to consolidate or even be lower than it is today until these interest rate cuts, because that is one thing that the Fed looks at. If the stock market is mooning to new all-time highs while they got to make their decision, that is a negative for them, a reason for them not to cut rates. Now, we have the CPI beat. We got all this other data, but that is speculation that he's been trying to slow down the markets because that is something the Fed looks at.
Well, yes and no. I mean, I'll just say one thing. I mean, Powell is on record many, many, many times saying that they actually do not look at asset prices. He gets asked at every presser. Now, whether that's true or false, they may look at it through the lens of, well, if asset prices get too high, then the affluent are going to continue to spend, overspend, and then inflation may go back up. So they may look at it from that standpoint. I'm not too worried about a melt up yet. I think a melt up is likely coming sometime, frankly, in 2026 or towards the end of this year. We have like another 60 days or more. So I'm not too worried about a melt up coming within the next week that would cause the Fed to say, oh, no rate cut. But if they keep cutting rates, quantitative easing comes back into play, and that 7.5 trillion or whatever from money market flows into the stock market, then you're going to have a melt up, and then the Fed's going to have inflation on their minds again.
Well, here's a nasty rumor of what the announcement might be about.
I hope not.
People speculating Trump is going to now pardon SBF. I don't know. I think that would probably be very bearish. I don't think there's too many people out there saying that would be a bullish announcement. But I don't know what your guys' thoughts on that.
Don't do it.
Well, the thing is, I think that FTX actually did commit crimes, lost a lot of money, was doing a lot of Fugazi paper Bitcoin trading. They were doing drugs, orgies, all kinds of shit, and they really fucked up an entire market. And the thing is, they fucked over a lot of celebrities and politicians and stuff too, which makes it even worse. But I think that's why, there is a possibility. I hope it's not this. I don't think it's this, but there is a possibility of this. Remember, FTX was one of the biggest donors to politicians, primarily Democrats. So. Trump, look at that list of donors he did again. I understand it's politicians and Gary Gensler and all that, but none of those people liked you for the most part that he gave money to. So fuck him. And he's one who actually committed crime, not CZ, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. No, he committed horrible crimes. People lost a shit ton of money. This wasn't CZ like one of those crimes which doesn't really hurt anybody, just like money laundering. I guess you could argue money laundering kind of hurts people because it was, I suppose if the money came from some deplorable thing, then sure, but drugs is usually the case, whatever the case may be. That was the allegation against CZ. Okay, your platform facilitated money laundering. Well, so does the United States dollar. Last I checked, people launder money in the dollar all the time. So get off your high horse. This is completely different.
Yeah,
this was a blatant fraud to the tune of billions of dollars, and people lost tons of money. They lost their livelihoods. They lost their reputations in many cases. Like, this hurt actual people. And so, yeah, no, I don't see who could be in favor of this outside of his family, outside of SBF's family. Who would want this guy out of prison this early?
There's no reason for it. I don't even get why this is a rumor. But yeah, I mean, CZ wasn't even convicted of money laundering. He was convicted of a completely different, even lesser crime than that. Yeah, no, that's actually a big thing.
Jaywalking? He's convicted of jaywalking.
It was something along the lines of not putting proper protective barriers into the platform to, potentially keep out people from money laundering. It was like a very minor, like, slap on the wrist. It was a witch hunt, which is what Trump came out and said. He's like, this was a witch hunt. We're not going to continue to perpetrate these type of things with this administration. I'm pardoning CZ, which, from my understanding, he already served his time. It's not like he got, commuted early. But what it will do is allow him whatever sort of penalties or restrictions the SEC, the Fed, whatever FCA, whatever regulatory bodies had on him doing particular business acts, which often will happen in these financial, crime situations. Like, Wolf of Wall Street guy, he's not allowed to go open another, firm like that anymore. Like, it's illegal for him to do that. So whatever that was, this pardon wipes that out. He's now going to be able to go operate within our industry, how he sees fit, as I understand it.
Yeah, but he already served his time. It was a minor crime. CZ, completely different story. I just don't see there being, again, outside of SBF's family, who wants this? Who wants this?
The politicians, the Democrats. Everybody who got money from them, like millions and millions and millions of dollars he gave to them.
I mean, hopefully Trump isn't listening to the Dems on this.
Right. Yeah,
why would he? Like, who's in? Like, I just don't see this is the problem. I mean, look, I love Twitter for the most part. I have my qualms with it. But when you have a free and open sort of forum for posting stuff, people can just make shit up. This could be completely made up. There could be zero source for this, and this could be posted by Altcoin Daily, and there's no repercussions, right? Well, so you got to take everything with a grain of salt on these things. This isn't like a proper newspaper where an editor would be like, no, you don't have a source, you can't print it. This is just X. People talk out their ass all day on X. So, take it with a grain of salt, guys.
Yeah, well, this rumor's actually been going around for a little while that he was going to be the next to be pardoned, or one of the people that are being looking at pardon. And there are people that do want him out. There are plenty of funds. Paradigm and name has been thrown around, and some other funds that would love for him to get out, that they could go throw a bunch of money at him and have him go start something new. Which, for us, we're like, who would ever trust this guy again? Well, people have short memories, and people, look at the hype, they look at the fame, and they go, oh, we can make money with this guy again. Look what happened to the Three Arrow Capitals guy, whose name is escaping me right now. After his whole debacle, he went out, raised a bunch more money, started another platform, which also collapsed. So, unfortunately, people have such short memories out here. When these big funds see the way they can make a dime, they're gonna do anything they can to make it happen. So
that's so true. So true, and it's a disgusting part of our industry. Putting profits before people, I think, is one reason why a lot of people, Dems, Republicans, whatever, are still against this industry. So it's a bad look. Do not pardon SBF. CZ, fine, that's great. No one's got issue with that for the most part. Stay away from SBF. That dude is toxic as hell.
Yeah, and let's look at the Bitcoin chart. With the CPI beat, we are up off the lows from yesterday. We were down to 107. We're up to as high as 112, sitting at 110.5 now. Still haven't been able to break above what could be a triangle for 5 waves down. We need to get above these moving averages. We just haven't done it yet. And you are getting a bearish cross here on the moving average if the day finishes around this price range. So if Bitcoin wants to get moving and shake off the bearish sentiment, it needs to get moving now. As we see, the NASDAQ is at new all-time highs today, and crypto still kind of floundering away. NASDAQ 25,383, gapping higher to new all-time highs. But I thought all of our 401ks were becoming 201ks, guys. What happened to that?
Well, that was bullshit from back in April. I bought that dip, or my wife did, on the stock market, up 40% in 6 months. So anyone who has the balls to buy the dips in the stock market usually works out. TradFi markets, new all-time highs. Crypto having a pit stop. Absolutely, Rema. Absolutely. I saw an interesting post yesterday from an influencer I follow on X. And, his theory made a lot of sense. It's kind of what we've been talking about for a while, too, which is we are in a phase of the market where, yes, we're seeing assets go up, but it's the less risky of the risky, right? It's gold, it's tech stocks, S&P 500, it's Nvidia, it's the biggest companies in the world. It hasn't yet trickled down to the truly risky, the Bitcoin, the Ethereum, the low caps, etc. It's going to take a bit more quantitative easing. It's going to take us moving further, down with these rate cuts, and for people to get risk on again and move money out of the money markets, out of the more traditional assets. So I guess that's a phase. Maybe we're in phase zero. Remember that chart we put up there? Phase zero was like gold pump. We might still just be in phase zero, guys. Like, wrap your head around that possibility, because it feels like that's how the market's behaving right now.
Well, and I know you guys talked about yesterday the theory of the $7.4 trillion locked in money markets, essentially treasury bonds, earning 5% at the moment. Those don't start rolling into other things until you get, I think it was a total of around between 1 and 2 total basis point cuts. So it's not going to happen, next month. It's going to take more time for that to trigger and start rolling in here. So as long as we've been waiting, and as rough as it's been, and as much as we've seen, Bitcoin pump, other things, like, we're still early. If this happens, we've still got a good maybe 6, 9, 12 months ahead of us of up markets.
Yeah, and we see here, gold spot still off the high, trying to catch itself. The Bitcoin usually lags 80 days. We're coming up on that, so Bitcoin should get moving here. Hopefully the rotation from gold to Bitcoin goes underway. Rotation of treasury funds into more risk-on assets comes. Now, like you said, you need 1 to 2% in cuts for that rotation to begin there. We're at only 0.25%. Potentially that jumps to 0.75% here in a week, and then maybe we get another cut in November or December to get us to that 1% mark, and that rotation could begin before the end of this year.
Yeah, we're already seeing treasury yields go down. We're already seeing mortgage rates go down. So, the market is getting out in front of this rate cut, which is what you want to see. This is a good thing. It hasn't yet trickled into Bitcoin. One of the reasons why I think this is the case, we haven't seen this sort of anticipated easing translate into the price of Bitcoin. We still have whales waking up from like 2010 with $500 million of Bitcoin. I just saw, I don't know if I shared it with you guys earlier, but I just saw a post yesterday, like, another wallet just woke up from 14 years ago, $500 million of Bitcoin he's got in there. He bought for 50 grand. So, I mean, it just feels like until we get past this OGs dumping on our heads, it's really tough to break out of this range, because there just isn't. I mean, I know MicroStrategy's is doing what they can, the ETFs are doing what they can, the DATs are doing what they can, maybe even some retail people are doing what they can, but very difficult to overcome, billion here, 5 billion there, 500 million there from these early whales.
Yeah, that's very true. And we see Ethereum here did rally with the CPI news. It's coming down a bit. Still hasn't been able to break out of this triangle. And this triangle continues to get more and more clear. This would be the triangle that we've been talking about. And this is a bearish formation where you have a 66% chance you would go down and you would test or go below this low. Most likely major support between $3,370 and $3,500. I'm not rooting for that, guys. I'm just telling you the probabilities. And if you can get above these levels, really need to get above 4150. Higher than this wick up here. So above 4150, this becomes invalidated. So if you want this to invalidate, make Ethereum go up $200, and then the tune changes and the 33% odds fall in our favor.
Let's get to work, Wintermute. Let's get to work, Binance. Lift those sell orders. You lift the sell orders, we're at 4,500 real quick. But hey, this is the world that we live in. There is manipulation in these markets. There are whales that are suppressing price for, whether just selling because they made a lot of money or because they have more nefarious, purposes in mind. But this is the game, guys. If you want to make it in crypto, you got to wade through the shit. You got to get through these very emotionally challenging months. And let's just be honest, these periods last months, sometimes even years of nothing happening. And then you have those explosive 10 days. Remember, Bitcoin mostly outperformed, like most of its gains are comprised over just a 10-day span each year. So you got to wade through the shit to get to the gold and the diamonds. And right now we're in the shit, ladies and gentlemen.
We're Andy Dufresne crawling through the shit pipe for the money and the freedom at the other end.
I don't know who that is, but great reference.
Oh, from why can't I even think of it? Morgan Freeman. They're in prison.
Oh, that movie. Good Lord.
Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, you're dating yourself. Our Gen Z audience does not know that reference. I'll tell you that much.
Well, I guess we'll talk about a couple other charts and projects that we've been talking about because we've been right on the TA. Aster, we were warning you not to buy for a while. We said 5 waves could be completing bullish divergence. Now it is up 15% off that low. It looks like this could be an A up. You're going to get a B down, spook some people back down towards $1, and then you could potentially get a C up back to around $1.25. You'd probably want to be a seller there, as if you took the bullish divergence trade, you'd be up about 31%. So if you're an Aster bull and you took that, maybe skim some profits here, expect another little bit of a drawdown before the next rally higher. This one's still going to be tough. Going to need a lot of buybacks and burns to turn that chart around, especially in the face of a weak market. Wanted to talk about Rome over on Pulse Chain. Why is that? Because we're in at 15,000 and 38,000, and we've been telling you all this time, nearly on every live show, that, hey, they keep building, it keeps grinding higher. Yesterday we were live at 90,000 market cap telling you about the new tournament they were doing, revenue positive, and how the chart looks like it wants to go higher once again, and boom, up 60% today, back up to 144K market cap. Now these are micro cap tokens, but it's nice to see a GameFi project on Pulse Chain driving real revenue and real eyes and adoption to Pulse Chain Network. Obviously, if projects like this that drive revenue and buy the native core tokens do well, that helps pump Pulse Chain, and that helps pump Surf Token and everything else that we like over on that chain. And then, of course, Peacock, this motherfucker. We sold it for massive profits. We were talking about yesterday how we might just need to swallow the pill, buy it, because it looked like it was forming a triangle. We didn't buy it, but it indeed formed a triangle. Massive green candle, back up to $11.85 million market cap. And I think that is something like a 35% move since the live show yesterday, when we were saying this could be a triangle. Maybe we need to swallow our pride and just buy the slight dip that we got from Marcel. Well, we didn't buy, and there you go. That's what happens sometimes. And then lastly, I think Surf Token is up 7.6%. PTGC is up 1.2%. And the Pulse Chain cores, I believe, are up as well. Yeah, blue chips up 5%, 5.5%, 2.5%, and 6.3%. So a little green over on Pulse Chain in the face of stagnant markets for Bitcoin and ETH. That's always nice to see.
Beautiful to see. Beautiful. Shout out to Rome. Great work, guys. We were singing your praises the other day. I don't know if we were responsible for the pump. I don't know if that was the Paradise pump. The one thing about low caps, they can run 50% in a 24-hour period. If simply you just run, okay, no more sellers and a couple buyers come in. You can get a couple $1,000 buy here, a couple $1,000 to buy there, and then all of a sudden you're up massive on the day. So we'll see if that sustains, if any sellers pop in now, if it's mostly just diamond hands who believe it's going to go higher. Same story with Surf, by the way. We had a new DAO member joining yesterday because he's looking to get the XXX airdrop, which we just announced. And he bought, his 200,000 Surf, and so that helps the price go up. And the beautiful thing about the DAO is, once they're in the DAO and they see all the benefits and they're part of that community, they almost never leave. So that's, very positive, and I'm very happy to see a new DAO member here joining us. So shout out to you, sir.
Question around that with the airdrop there, because I know something that crossed my mind, and I'm sure has crossed the mind of a few other DAO members. How are we doing the snapshot, or how are they looking at that? Because a lot of us have our Surf staked in one way or another with some of our partners, whether that be RhinoFi or one of the other pools on some of these other platforms, which typically, if you're just doing like a wallet scan, won't show up. So what's the plan around that? Might be some good info to get.
I don't think he's going to be able to figure out what's staked into random DeFi staking products. It's almost impossible to do that. So it's just going to be what's in your wallet. The idea is to give back to the Surf DAO members. The founder of XXX used to be a DAO member. He had to exit his position, but part of his protocol actually buys Surf with every transaction, and he's going to accumulate that 200,000 Surf and get back in that DAO over time. But anyway, it's just for the DAO members. 200,000 or more Surf. You're getting an airdrop for you hold 200,000 plus Surf. He's just going to do a snapshot of the let's call it Pulse Chain scan and send out 25,000 XXX tokens shortly after the launch. And if you hold your 25,000 XXX tokens over a 200-day period, you will get airdrop part 2, which is another 25,000 triple X tokens. So incentive to hold. Of course, if you want to sell, that's fine too. But yeah, there won't be any way to determine your holdings in the DeFi protocols. That's just basically impossible.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I just like I said, I'm sure I wasn't the only one wondering how that was going to work. If they were just going to take whoever is in the Surf DAO. I know we've got the tool now that logs people in. But anyways, yeah, but more bullish stuff for the Surf DAO members. More reasons to hold the Surf token, and more reasons to pick up that 200K bag to get yourself in.
There you go. There you go. And here's another reason to get risk on, I would say. Again, breaking. I don't know who is this guy, Alex Mason. It would be kind of nice to see this from, I don't know, maybe JP Morgan, maybe a Goldman Sachs.
That's where I heard the story originated from is JP Morgan. This guy actually breaks down like why, and I think this makes a lot of sense. Saying the money printing isn't a choice. The bank reserves are down to 9.71% of GDP. The Fed's safety net is at 10 to 11%. They have to act or the system breaks, similar to the September 19 repo crisis. So that's, I guess, the reason and apparently the calculations. But I agree. I don't know who this guy is. I did see another story that was quoting JP Morgan saying that the Fed was going to print that there. But I have seen many sources tweeting the same thing. So could be a rumor, but we do know they're going to have to print at some point.
I just think Jerome Powell wants to see himself on memes one more time. That's his, fame, his glory. He gets to see the Jerome Powell money printer go burr memes, and he's like, you know what? I'm done in May. I'm getting my salary. Let's make the money printer go burr, and you know what? I'm going to print it, and then I'm going to tell everybody, yeah, I am actually bullish on Bitcoin. Let's send the markets higher before he gets kicked out. That's what he's thinking.
Well, yeah, I think he already indicated that they're stopping the QT, right? They are done selling their treasuries. He basically stated that in the last two press conferences, actually. And so then the question is, when are they going to announce and when are they going to start buying up mortgage-backed securities, buying up treasuries again, which is effectively, that's the QE we're talking about here. Yeah, and I think it's going to happen, I guess, maybe sooner than we think, based on what you said about the bank's holdings. But yeah, that's the there's the meme.
He wants to get that going viral again. He wants to see this video make its rounds again, like a few years back there.
Well, I mean, the thing is the timing of that would be perfect because you would have essentially an interest rate cut in October, another one in November or December, the Fed printing money, QE's underway, and that lines up perfectly with the ISM or the 5-year business cycle to lead us into 2026 and risk on assets doing very well for at least 3 to 6 months.
You know what's so interesting though, right? Like normally you expect the markets to sort of front run the rate cuts, front run the QE. But it seems like either they're not doing that because therefore you expect the markets to be higher right now. Bitcoin wouldn't be where it's at, although you could say obviously the stock market is all-time highs. But is there a possibility that, I don't know, due to bear market PTSD, due to just being a skeptical asshole, due to the fact that you think that the bull run's over because of the 4-year cycle, that people just haven't front run this news? They're not buying in anticipation of rate cut because they just don't believe it's going to happen or for some other reason.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I really don't have any idea what's going to happen in a couple days when we get this announcement. I don't think it's going to be enough to really send the markets. I think we've got more sideways consolidation. I think we need like an actual money printer type scenario or something to kind of kick in to really jumpstart this and push us through to the end of the year. But I guess we'll find out in a few days here.
I think you're onto something there because if you look at, you said the traditional markets, all-time highs, gold, all-time highs, but Bitcoin and ETH are not. And I think that the traditional markets and the gold markets are front-running the QE. But Bitcoin, either they're cynics. Remember, there's people that said the top was in September when we first hit 124,000 Bitcoin. Then there's a lot of people that said, the top was in October when we just hit 125K. So there's a lot of people. There's already probably 50% of the market that thinks the top is in, and they're liquidating positions. There's those dormant whales who say, hey, I don't know if the top is in, but, I bought at $1,000. It's now 120. I'm just going to sell out my position, right into the sunset with $1 billion in cash at the money market, even if it's only 2%. So I think that's the curve that Bitcoin is fighting and ETH is fighting, especially altcoins. Just bear market PTSD, low morale, low momentum. But if we look at traditional markets, I think they're a leading indicator for what's to come. And if we look at history, even if you believe in the 4-year halving cycle, you're supposed to still have another 2.5 months of euphoria, and we haven't had that yet.
Yeah. Well, this chart kind of paints that picture. The last few cycles, retail FOMO, these parabolic blow off tops and these big run ups here. And this is what this cycle has looked like. Much more like an institutional structural bit. And I thought this here is a great meme that kind of explains this a little bit. Here's your natural river system, lots of eddies and pools and animals, fishers. And here's your engineered river channel. Like, this is more what we are becoming as these institutions come in and this money piles in. And that's where we go from, this retail up to this slow, steady grind to the right there.
That's what I've been saying for a while, that I don't know if we're going to see just a tremendous, 60% in a month. We used to get 60% in a month on Bitcoin in 2017, right? That happened in October, and then another 30% in November, and then like a 40% in December. I don't know if we get that. But the asset class is too big, it's too institutionalized, retail's not really here. Much more likely, and look, here's the evidence for it, we have a continued slow grind up with the 20% corrections. 20% corrections are very normal in the stock market, right? Then you have a rebound, consolidation, and a run, and then another correction, and so slow grind up, and we've seen that here. This illustrates it perfectly. So I don't know if we'll never have a parabolic move. I think we probably will get one at some point, because think about a scenario where the Fed's cut rates to near zero, quantitative easing is in full effect, markets are pumping everywhere, money will flow, and retail will flow into this asset class at that point in time. But we ain't there yet. So just, if you believe in that, I think it's still coming. And even if not, a slow, steady grind up, what's wrong with that? Just hodl.
Yeah. Well, we've seen more and more, I think, over the last week or so, we've shown a couple different versions of a chart similar to this. Now, I don't agree with his timing here, but I do like, what these comparisons are being made of these, this golden cross coming in. We've looked at levels on, the BTC versus alts and things like that. We keep saying the cycle is different. I think we need more time, but we do, get some sort of alt season. What is it going to look like? It's obviously going to be different than before. Our pre-sale is going to come back. Who knows? But there will be a point where, all of these catalysts that we keep talking about, take effect. And it's not just going to be Bitcoin that's going up. We're going to see some alts start to move. When alts move, we know they move violently.
Shit, I didn't have my finger on the cheering button. That felt like a cheering moment. I want to give a shout out to everyone watching. Thank you, Martin. You actually inspired me to improve my background, because you were like, you should improve your background, you bum. And so here we go. I got this. I got some other stuff. It doesn't all fit together as nicely. So we just put this up. Thank you, Todd, reminding everyone to like, share, and subscribe. By the way, we are working on a little marketing campaign to reward our loyal supporters and also create more loyal supporters and get some more awareness out there in crypto paradise. So we're going to be announcing that soon. It's all about engaging on the X and the YouTube, and like, share, subscribe, and share with a friend and all that good stuff. And I think we're making great content. We just got to get more eyeballs on the brand, and good things happen. So thank you for all those who have been following along thus far. What do we got here?
Some random bullish news. I mean, a lot of people calling for the top. I think the people at Vanguard are probably pretty smart now. The experts do get things wrong from time to time, but they're $10 trillion company, $10 trillion fund just bought almost $33 million worth of Bitcoin via MSTR. I mean, that's pretty bullish if you ask me.
Well, yeah, especially because Vanguard historically had been anti-crypto because they're very much traditionalists. The founder of Vanguard basically invented the ETF and the index fund, as I understand it. So they were anti-crypto for a long time. I wonder if this is Vanguard using their own money. I don't think that it is. I think it's Vanguard clients doing this, because normally how these brokerages operate, right? They don't. I mean, I'm sure they trade their own money and stuff. But for the most part, it's client money. Like, myself, I have a Vanguard account. I go buy something, and then they're saying, oh, Vanguard bought. It's like, no, I bought, and then you're just reporting it as Vanguard. Similar thing happens with BlackRock all the time. But either way, bullish. Either way, very bullish. And, yeah, you guys are not bullish enough.
I mean, and as far as Ethereum is concerned, well, here, look at this. Bitmine Immersion Tech up another 33% in the past 30 days as far as how much ETH they hold, now at a 3.24 million. Sharplink Gaming's bought a little more, up to 859,000. Ether Machine bought a little more. And what do you know? The Ether Foundation that everybody said, oh my God, they moved all of their ETH and they're selling it and it's sold on the OTC market and all that bullshit that I told you was incorrect. Well, now the address has been updated and what do you know? They didn't sell. They just moved it to a different multi-sig wallet. So, Crypto Hitman was right again, and you guys are idiots. Why would they sell 75% of the treasury all in one go on OTC? That doesn't make sense. I can't believe those people have hundreds of thousands of followers and get hundreds of thousands of views. But, well, they're incorrect. BitDigital also added 24% as well, up to 150,000. And you scroll down and you see a lot of these treasury companies are slowly adding Ethereum to their books. So, over time, you know, the retail is selling out their ETH and giving it to the institutions. You decide which side of history you want to be on.
Isn't that the story of the stock market and all markets? The transfer of wealth from the impatient to the patient. That's why my middle, first, and last name is Patient, Patient, Patient. But, yeah, that was an idiotic take. Everyone who's saying Ethereum sold all the stuff. They publicly said we're doing OPSEC improvements. We're moving into a new safe, because we think it's better secured, whatever. And even in that article, in the tweet they made about it, they reiterated that their new strategy is they didn't use the word crypto degen, but it was something akin to that. It's like, our new strategy is being crypto degens. We're gonna take our ETH and stake it in different DeFi things and generate yield in different ways, and we're becoming degens because guess what? The crowd, the voters, let's call it, it was a political system, said enough of this selling. Just generate some yield on your massive bag, and that should, allow you enough money to pay for the devs. So they finally listened to us and did that. So anyone who had that idiotic take, you're idiots. Don't listen to idiots. Come here at Crypto Paradise and get the real takes.
What you got going on, Nate? It looked like you were about to say something about Ethereum.
No, just digging through if there's any other stories to cover here yet tonight. I don't have too much. Just kind of scrolling through the feed, see if there's anything I missed.
This is what I was talking about yesterday, where you can literally buy the second largest Ethereum strategic reserve asset at a discount to ETH to MNAV. So essentially, buying Sharplink Gaming, if you believe in Joe Lubin and in their ETH accumulation strategy, and that they're actually producing DeFi yield and they're not going to exit scam you, which I think the answer to that is they're not going to. It's actually cheaper to buy SBET itself than it is to buy spot Ethereum at this point in time.
Yeah, the DAT, digital asset treasury companies, it's interesting how they've evolved, right? I read an interesting article that a lot of the investors in these companies are technically underwater because if they had just bought Bitcoin itself, they would have done better than buying, whatever stock and whatever random shitty DAT was out there. That obviously does not apply to MicroStrategy, to strategy. And that probably won't apply to Bitmine, probably won't apply to Sharplink Gaming. It may ultimately apply to some of these lower ones, smaller ones, right? Just random companies that were like, it was a pharmaceutical company, it was a life sciences company, it was a whatever, making sex toys, I don't fucking know, but decided to convert and become a Ethereum company or Bitcoin company. It's like, oh, that one didn't do well. Surprise, surprise. The dildo company didn't do well when it pivoted over to being crypto. So you got to be a little bit cautious with these. I do think Bitmine's here to stay. I do think Sharplink's here to stay. I do think Strategy here to stay, and probably all solid investments. You start to go down that list though, and you're taking on a bit more risk, and maybe just buy the underlying asset. What a thought.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Who'd have thunk?
Who'd have thunk? Ethereum's not bad. You ever heard of Bitcoin? Also not bad. Like, you don't need to just buy a stock that bought the thing. It's funny. I was having this conversation with a buddy of mine who works on Wall Street. He's like, I do not get this at all. He works on these deals. He is an investment banker, works on these deals. He's like, this is all the rage. This is all I work on, and I don't get why anyone does it. And I'm like, well, welcome to the mania.
Well, it's all about how they apply their yield, and I think you're onto something where Bitmine and Sharplink Gaming have the backing to continue to accumulate, have the ability to get DeFi yield, and have the ability to invest in other crypto projects earlier than anybody else can. So they have upside potential there as well. The other nice thing about Bitmine is they do own quite a bit of Bitcoin as well. I think it's less than 200 Bitcoin, but still at current prices. Several $1 million worth of Bitcoin is also on their balance sheet, not just ETH.
They also own that other company that they bought. which did a DAT with like WorldCoin, I think, or something weird like that. So yeah, no, BitMine. I mean, Tom Lee is a very, very, very smart guy. If you're talking from a traditional finance standpoint, he's not gonna, he's gonna be a winner. Yeah, for the most part, look, I don't own any of these. I just buy the underlying thing. What could be an interesting strategy is, you're arbitraging. Maybe you have some ETH, you have some of these stocks. Maybe there's arbitrage opportunities between the two. Maybe a good hedging opportunity as well. I don't know. I'm sure there's reasons why you may want to own these DATs and also ETH. But this is what the market wants, and let's give the market what it wants.
Can't argue with that. I know we got started a little late today, but I do have a call I got to hop to here in a minute. I told the fam I'd back in the States, I'd give them a call here tonight. Dad's working on re-siding the house, so I'm sure he's ready to get out the door.
Did you get Dad into crypto yet? And then which coins is he buying?
He got it. I finally convinced him to get into Bitcoin at about 80K, so he's very happy.
There you go. There you go. Good work, man. I hope he watches the show. I hope he watches the show.
He's happy, but he's also pissed because I first told him to buy a 15K. So
we finally got around to it at 80. Huh?
Yeah,
it's a story of every crypto investor, isn't it? Like, I knew about this 10 years ago.
Yeah, he's a TradFi guy. Yeah, he's a TradFi investor. So he bought at 80, and we were at 125. He was up 50+% in a couple months. So he was very, very. He was tickled pink on that. He wasn't too upset, but
tell him to hodl. Tell him to hodl. I mean, I don't know how old he is, how many more years he's got left, but hopefully many years. But
no, I told him when he was getting in. Yeah, I told him when he was getting in. I'm like, hey, I don't know if you're gonna go up, down, or sideways from here. He goes, but you can't lose if you hold long term. He's like, I've got minimum 5-year time horizon. I'm like, yeah, you're fine then.
Perfect. Yeah, Bitcoin. I mean, even people who are bemoaning Bitcoin and they're down and they're feeling shitty. I mean, just think where we were this time last year. We were at $60,000 something Bitcoin, if I'm not mistaken. Bitcoin is still up, 30-40% a year on average over the past few years, probably even more actually, even with this, the periodic 20% corrections and the consolidations and everyone feeling shitty. I mean, it's still the best performing asset in the history of mankind, if I'm not mistaken, at least major asset over the past 10-15 years. So don't sleep on Bitcoin, guys. I know everyone's feeling shitty. I know everyone's like, oh, it's lagging the stock market's lagging gold, and that is true. But its time will come. I'm hoping that this CPI read was going to sort of spur some buying and some risk-on behavior, because the rate cut coming in a week from now is essentially a foregone conclusion, is it not?
Yeah. So we'll see how it all plays out. I mean, it's still going to take a little bit of time, but like you said, the lag should be over soon for Bitcoin when it comes to gold and everything else.
We're going to be sitting here in 5 years. The lag's going to be over soon, guys. I promise you, the lag will be over soon.
It comes at that 80-day lag or whatever comes invalidated, I think, like mid-November, based on when gold broke out. So we shall see.
Okay, yeah, no, we're gonna be fine, folks. It's funny because when you're in the consolidation period, it feels like it's never gonna end. But of course it does end and it pumps, and you're like, oh yeah, of course it was going to pump. Why didn't I see that coming? I should have bought more on the dip.
Yep.
It's easy to buy green candles. It's really hard to buy red candles, yeah?
All right, boys and girls, we'll let Nate go. We'll cut this one off short. We got some other stuff to do today, but thank you so much for everyone's time. And until next week, we will see you on the beach.
Have a great weekend, everybody.